Hey, this is Shantae with Brown Sugar Talks and the Black Unicorn. Okay, so I found out something else now. I guess it is a joke or something for somebody to be doing this, but I called to get the records of the chemical smells. You know, I don't know if you don't listen, don't matter. But anyway, the chemical smells inside my house from the neighbor. So there were chemical smells in here, and I called the who are these people? I called for a gas leak, and one night me and my son even had to sleep in the car. So I think we did that all the way up till January, or maybe I called the police. I don't know. But anyway, either way, one night the neighbor called, and I think that was like in November. So one night the neighbor called, and the person came out and checked both houses for the chemical smell. Well, I called down to the electric company, and they say they don't have a record of it. I said, yep, they playing with my life, my time, and my energy. Because yesterday the neighbor did the same crap that she wanted to argue. And I just didn't say anything to her. Her husband came and said something about burning something in the backyard. I didn't say anything to him. I don't know these people. I think these people are actually pretending to know me or for whatever reason. Like we live in the same house or we share a door or something like that. I don't share anything with these people. So I don't like that they would know anything about me, first off. Know anything from my past. I don't like the eavesdropping through the walls, and I don't like the drama. It's a lot that I don't like. I even got the no contact order. So even at the no contact order, the husband comes and speaks to me, and then the lady comes to speak to me again. They also say I can get utility tampering, like where we can check and see if they tampering with our utilities or whatever. Because I think that might be happening too. I don't know what's going on over here. I have no clue, none whatsoever. Yeah, this is nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. They really think it's a game and I actually need help. They think I'm playing and I actually need help. There's no reason for anybody to know anything or say anything to me about anything. Like I'm telling you that right now. Unless it's this show. You know, unless it's Black Unicorns, everything else is a wash. And even take it from my show and it's copyrighted. That's wrong too, and I ain't getting no check. Phone conversations being recorded, again, wrong. You can't do that. You don't do that. Putting devices in my house, in my car, wrong. You don't do that. Yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of people I let go of when I left Illinois. I let you go because I just didn't need you in my life. When I got back here, I remember I talked to some guy named Tyrone. And I was like, Tyrone and Terrence. So a lot of these people, I just never would have spoke to. Like, if, you know, before I would never probably even gave them the time of day. And Tyrone was one of them. He was jealous. One night he came, he was supposed to take me out on a date. And he showed up late at my dad's house. And my dad said, "You not going?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Because he know better." He said he did that on purpose. He didn't want you. You see what I'm saying? And when I got back here, I actually spoke to him. I actually still went out with him. He didn't know no guy, you know. Because my dad said this. And that wasn't even a reason. I was just trying to hang out with him, you know. And he started to do all the stuff my dad said. All the stuff that he said he would do. Like just all that extra, I'm jealous of you stuff. And so... You see, that was just all it was. Like, it was just a lot of, I'm jealous of you, and now I got a job, or I got this kind of girlfriend, or we did this together, or some shit like that, you know? It wasn't even me. I wasn't trying to do nothing to you, you know? When I worked at Olive Garden, that's when I had the yellow teeth. I had them all my life because I had bronchitis when I was younger. And the bronchitis is what discolored my teeth. Even though my aunt says no, because my teeth were actually discolored. They had to be white. I remember brushing them. I used to want to brush them. I brushed them. My aunt could probably tell you, no, right? Again, I don't know what's that from either. Because when I told her, she was like, no, it can't be. It's like, yeah, it is. I looked it up. The doctor told me. I researched it. I live in a library. Like, people they don't understand. If it was an actual library close to me in walking distance, I would be there I would know every part of, like, where the dust was. I would know where the book is supposed to go back to, whatever. I used to work in the library, but I worked in the library, but it's not the same. It's a schedule. I don't need that. But I just lived at the library. Like, even on campus, I lived at the library. In high school, I lived at the library. At lunchtime, I didn't eat. I went to go read. Like, it's just like, I looked up so much stuff. I remember, I should have got it too. It was like an old catalog box. That's the kind of stuff I love it. I love it. I used to love opening it up with that ring on there, and it had like a button too, and then it had like all the little slot where you could put the alphabets at and stuff. I just felt like, oh my God, this is such a good thing for me. I love the library. Like, my family used to make fun of me too when I was younger. Like, I read the newspaper, the back of the washing pot. I think it also made me a better writer. You know, I hated when I got to college and they were like, you weren't a writer. I'm like, I have read so many books. Yes, I am. And I knew the vernacular, you know, because not all books were just like at this high level of reading. It was like stories were told with your ebonics. Stories were told, because that's what makes it more interesting, funny. The best book I could relate that back to is Mama by Terry MacMillan. I loved it. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to read that book. The book you can read, if you actually can read, you can read that book in like a day. I used to read some books, Tempest, and I think that took me like 2 days. And this was just in high school. Like, some books I just used to, and I would cry. Like, I would save $6 so I can get the paperback ass book at the bookstore. I was so happy when I got to college. Oh yeah, in college, I worked at the bookstore. So I was so happy to have that job too. I worked at the bookstore, so I would have to check the binding and check the t-shirts and check the lining and check your notebooks and all that stuff you buy from the bookstore, which really I think is very thorough. Like, the bookstore that's on the SIUE campus is very thorough. The person that used to be over that bookstore, and I used to give out books at the bottom. Y'all, I used to have 3-4 jobs on campus at a time. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I just kept the same momentum. But I had a lot of experience and stuff. But they would never want me to be a writer. It was like I could never get into the list. So I always got put down for being a writer. But now that I look back at my story, I'm just saying, like, I see it and I know what I'm doing with it. I think that a lot of people would appreciate the writing. At this point, I don't know. I think people keep thinking that they slipping into something, and it's not mine. Like, that's not mine. Those are my stories. Those are stories about me, but they are not my actual writing. So that's my whole thing. And I remember I was at a company too, where this woman came, and this girl, she had I think sickle cell anemia. She had sickle cell anemia, and she was a writer. And so she wrote this story so she can get this grant, and the story was in her voice. And the girl came and she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fix it for you. You know, she like this kind of bougie black girl. She got natural hair. Oh my gosh, she must be super black, you know, whatever. And I looked at it and I was like, no, I wouldn't give this to anybody. After the girl got done with it, because she put all these big words in there and, you know, all this different stuff. And I think that sometimes is the difference between going to an HBCU and actually going to a college. It's a difference. And I'm sorry. I mean, I know y'all be like, well, it's wrong, but it's not. I believe that some HBCUs need to hire people that have had the experience. I don't know how to tell you. It's like, and then I think that some colleges need to hire people that have been at HBC. It's almost like I feel like they kind of need to switch a little bit. But anyway, what happens is it's like she changed it. And I was like, why would you change all of her writing? Because really what was wrong with my writing was my grammar, right? Not the story, not what I'm telling you. It was just sometimes the grammar, like a comma here, a period there. Maybe I didn't use the correct word, and now they got all these different things. So now my writing has actually gotten better. And my math has really started to deplete. Do you hear me? Sometimes I get on Khan Academy and I'm like, oh. So it's like a switch around. That happened years ago though. So, I look at her writing. I'm like, no, your writing this is actually good. Like, it's your voice. And I hate when people take it and just like, okay, what? Because now that's what we read. Everything, all the articles are in somebody's voice. That's what makes it interesting. It's nice to hear, what's something, I don't speak slang, so I don't know what they say. Like, I see, nothing even comes to my mind. I'm going to use some of my words, like tight. Like if somebody said, so in a tight in Texas means that you got to go to the bathroom. I am not a Texas slang person at all. It's just like every time they say, I'm like, what does that mean? Her in Illinois, tight would mean that it looks good. You see what I'm saying? Like, so, it'd be nice, like somebody like, man, that look tight, But again, if you not from Illinois, you don't know. You don't know. You have no clue of what that means. So then if you from Texas, and somebody say that look tight, you say, man, that look tight. Somebody might be like, oh my God, is it horrible? Like, is it a piece of shit? You know what I'm saying? Because that actually means that they actually have to go poop. So it's just so different for people to, I don't know, for whatever reason. So what I was telling her was like, it really was her voice. It was who she was. It was her affliction, everything she had went through, her pain. And when you try to cover that up with inconspicuous and I don't know. It's good those words, but at the same time, it's not something that's really attractive to everybody. And so you have to think that when people read or in those situations, they really only want to hear it if you like a kid, or like they only want to be surprised by it if you're at a certain age. But after that, they want to actually just hear you tell the story. They just want to hear or read the story. They don't want to hear or see all these words they want to look up. It's a different level of writing. So like if you writing to tell somebody a story, that's gonna be like a tier 1. Tier 1 meaning you're gonna use not a lot of vernacular that you use all the time or big words. You could go into tier 2. Tier 2 meaning you could go into new vocabulary. But new vocabulary, which is common for people, it's like new vocabulary, like I said, inconspicuous. He looks so inconspicuous. He looks suspicious. We don't want to go into ostentatiously and downwardly and all. That's like when you telling a story, it's not like that. When you having a conversation, we're not really going through those words. And then tier 3, that's when you get into, okay, yeah, let me look up something. Because sometimes I want to read something and be like, I want to look that up. Especially science journals. I used to read a lot of science journals when I was teaching. That's why I taught the kids. I taught them from science journals. So most of my questions came from science journals that I would read. So, or even sometimes National Geographics. I love the pictures. We had a lot of them in the room. Some stuff I take home. But it was just like a lot of that stuff, that's where it came from. So then that's a tier 3 level, because now you have to teach it in Spanish. You got to teach it in English. It's something that's going to be the same across every language, because it's a scientific or mathematic word. It's a process or whatever. And so that's what I was trying to tell her. And I couldn't really give it to the girl. The girl just took over. Shelly. I think her name was Shelly. And I'm just like, listen, I don't really get you. I don't know what your motive is, but no, dream killer. She was a dream killer, because the girl sat there and she didn't know what to do. And I think she finally made the decision, what I was telling her, do it in your voice. It's yours. And that was before I was a teacher. It's your voice. Use your voice. And I think, I don't like reading all the writers all the time, because sometimes it'd be like redundant and I got to go back and it's redundant. But, when my kids wrote, that's what it was. It's just like, tell your story. You don't have to, sometimes we do, like ran set. Those 3-letter words, yes, we want to move it up to tier 2. Like, we want to move that up to a vocabulary. But everything else, your quotes, your feelings, your thoughts, how you said it, you could have said it. I set her real hard. I like that. And you put that in quotation marks because that's how you sound. That's who you are. I finished and I looked at it and thought, what a day. You see, that's not a lot of flowery vocabulary, but that's actually what you said to yourself. Now, you can then say, I inconspicuously hid the potato salad or put it away, or suspiciously I looked around the room. You know what I'm saying? He was looking suspicious or something like that. You can add that after you put in your quote. But when you put in your quote of what you said and how you felt and what it was and how it was, that is the stuff. You see what I'm saying? It's not actually the sauce, but it's the spice. It's the little spice. It's that little sugar that you put in there. It's that little accent that you have at the end of what you say. Especially if they know you. If they had a conversation with you and now they're reading your story and now it's like I can go back and it's so flavorful. Writing is such a good thing. It's something that you eat and you suck up and you sip and you taste and you savor and you sit it in your mouth and you have you ever put a non-later in there and you just have it on the roof of your mouth and then you let your tongue rub against it and it's just like you get all this good flavor and you actually want another one? Or you could be a person that would save it for later when ain't nobody else there because you want to watch TV, your favorite show, and put that non-later in your mouth and have it slide across the roof of your mouth so you can taste it with your tongue. It is it is so good. It's so good. I used to tell my kids it's like barbecue. But I had to switch it up because the sauce, oh my God, the sauce is what you put on there. That's when you go back in and you put the sauce on it. Because my kids didn't want to rewrite it over again. They didn't want to do it over. So it's like, okay, but you're going to put some sauce on it. You got to put the sauce on it. The sauce is when you go back and you correct it and you put in all those good words that you know and you change up this and change up that. But whatever you do, don't change your voice. Don't do that. Don't do it because that is you. That is what makes you whole. That is who you are. It's who I can look at this paper and see this is my child. This kid is in my classroom. Their presence has been graced with me. You understand? I don't know if that's right. Their presence was a grace. I'm telling you. And so that was what I was just trying to get across. And it was just like the ugliest thing for this girl to just keep and congruently. I don't care about those words. It actually throws the flavor off. You see, it's almost like bland as opposed to spice. Just, I'm going to hit it. It's almost like she took all the salt out of it. And it wasn't even salty. It needed a little more salt. It needed a little more to give maybe some lemon juice or something. It needed something else. But it did not need any tier 3 words. It didn't need this vocabulary that was out of control or just... That was it. I was just like, what's wrong with her? And that's why I'm telling you, I'm not putting down anything. I'm just saying sometimes allow the sauce, allow the spice. Because it depends on what you're writing, you don't need all that. If it's not scientific or mathematic, you don't need all that. You just need to tell your story and give it a voice. That's all. And I don't know. You see, I don't know if all this is because of people from SIUE or high school or whatever. But I'm telling y'all, I don't like y'all. It's a lot of y'all I don't like. And y'all already know I don't like you. And it's just like I hate the way that it affects my life. I'm not angry with you. I just don't like you as a human being. I don't like you at all. I don't know if you have taken on the traits of somebody else's personality, if maybe you like them better or whatever. I don't care. I just don't like you. And that's the reason why I'm quiet. That's the reason why I stay in the library. That's the reason why I stay to myself. And that's the reason why I help. Because other people are affected by your bulliness. Is that a word, bulliness? Other people are affected by your aggressiveness, your insecurities, your inaptness, all these different things. And that's why I help. Because sometimes they gotta know, yes, you are doing the right thing. You are on the right path. Love, you are great. Honey, you are awesome. With all your countryness and your bare feet and your all except do not be in a filthy house. Now I'm telling you, if you're in a filthy house, I probably don't. I'm not there with you. But it's like that's all I'm saying. It's like just I don't know. Just be beautiful. You guys are beautiful beings. It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm in the cluttered field house, so people might not like. I like my house is cluttered. I'm telling you now. It's all the table still needs to be cleaned up. I have not finished it. I don't ever finish cleaning up. I never do. I clean up, and then something else happened, and it just never happened. That's why when I see people with unfolded clothes and dishes in the sink, and the spices all on the counter, that's me. I'm like, that's me. I know. I know. I know your mess, and you know and I still know where the scissors are. I still know where the scissors are. Through all this clutter, I'm gonna still know where the scissors are. But what I'm saying is just like, be sure that you allow voice. Every writing, and make sure we teach that too. Every writing doesn't cause for you to use all that vocabulary. It does not. Every day doesn't cause for you. It's not raising the standard if we just, he was pitter-papa. And you're like, what's pitter-papa? It's good to be a person that just has some random word to say. That was Miss Sutton. She just come in the meeting with some random ass word. Just like, okay. I mean, I don't know what that means. It has nothing to do with the meeting. Nothing to do with the meeting. But she gonna use it. And so you just like, okay. I think it's better to know what changes the word, like ER. If you once you constructor, EROR, constructor. You see that changes the word. It changes the meaning of the word. So construct is to build, and then a constructor is a person that builds. Helper. Help is like getting someone to actually get you to. I don't know. I can't get a definition without saying help. To perform in a certain way, to get you to get them, help them or whatever. Helper is a person that will help you. So it's just like sometimes that's what the kids really need to know, because that's what they really need to know in life. Now, if they're a science person, they do need to know what osmosis means. You want them to know, you want them to get the joke about osmosis. Like, I learned this through osmosis. You can't, because osmosis is a way that they like condensate water, or they drip it down. You know what I'm saying? It's like a way to like draw water out of something. And so it's like, oh, you digital. So what you do, basically they would have to basically put a book on their brain, on their head, and then their head just suck up the information, which cannot be done. So that's why it's funny, because it's just like, nah, you're so stupid. It's like, you want them to get that joke, because it's something that cannot act. It's a permeate, so it permeates, you see? So it's like the water seeps through or whatever. So that's it. It's just like, that's all I'm saying. Sometimes y'all don't need all that to give life to yourself or give life to your writing. You can keep it simple. That was the best part of Mama. It was like Ebonics. I'm serious. It was like, I read that as a black child. I read that as my auntie telling me off. Whenever I read Mama, I thought about my auntie, my Aunt June. I can't stand. I'm telling you, it's a lot of people I don't like. I'm sorry. I apologize. But it's a lot of people I love too. But yeah, it's a lot of people I don't like. But it's just like, you read them. That's how I read it. I was like, this is her. This is my Aunt June. And that's why I read it like that. It was just like, I read it with flavor, with spice, with cinnamon and sugar. And you know what I'm saying? Oh my God, a lot of pepper, bitch. A lot of cayenne. That bitch went all the way to That mama was something, hun. She done went all the way to them fucking peppers that be too hot for your mouth, you know. I mean, the ones the Africans use in their soup, they stew. But yeah, it's like, I read it. Jamaica Kincaid, oh my God, that's another good example. When she talks about, I loved her book too, Jamaica Kincaid, how she loved the smell of herself and the essence of who she, I mean, it is like, I feel like every girl should kind of read that, because it's almost like a self-love book. I love that book, Jamaica Kincaid. That was such a good self-love book for me. I was like, I do too, because I felt awful that I love the smell of my own self. You know, that I love myself like that. And when I read it, I was like, that's how I feel too. I felt the same way. I was like 16 or 17 years old when I read that one. And then my mama, I didn't get to read the end because my mama let one of her friends read it. You know, I never got the book back. I got to get another one. But I loved it. I loved how she saved her money and how she hid away. I just loved how smart she was. I did. I just love that book. Love it, love it, love it. It's such a oppression, let me get the fuck out of her book. You know, it is. It's like, love me. I love me enough to know that I got to get the fuck away from this man. I got to get away from this situation. And that could have been part of why I did what I did, to get away from Marcus Boyd. You know, it was something I had to do. I'm telling you, man, reading is fundamental, and I think it helps us too. And so on so many levels. On so many levels it does. Like, you know, it helps you get over the hate. Because even in Mom, I started to love Mom. You know, I started to love all of them. All of them. I loved all of them. Even in Jamaica Kincaid, it's like, okay, oh my God, he is Mr. You start to like compare who they are to the other person. And so that's the whole thing. It's an essence. Your voice is an essence in the writing. And even if you are a person that, and I'm saying do it as you. Don't come in and just say shit just because you saying it. That's what Miss Sutton used to do. She'd just come in and say a word and you'd be like, why is she saying this word? It was like one of the most irritating situations. It was like the chalk, like somebody's fingers being taken across the chalkboard. And it was ignorant and just infantile. And so it's like, okay, make jokes, but be yourself, you know, just be you. And that's why it was just such a crippling situation for me. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep saying names because I hate all y'all. It ain't no other way for me to express myself. I have not found a way to like anything that y'all have done throughout this whole process. None of it. I have not found a way. And I don't want to. It's very distasteful. And it just makes me feel, like, you know. And so, I don't know. It's just a stupid situation. So anyway, back to non-stupidity. But what I'm saying is just, like, remember, your writing, your life, your journals, your steps, everything you do, it's your voice. Even if you put it in somebody else's characterizations or whatever, that's you. And not to say that person is you. And you know what? The other thing that somebody just went over with me about is when I used to tell my kids, like, you are putting yourself in that person's shoes. So, like, say for instance, you don't like them, right? You are actually putting yourself in a position to be like, that is just something I wouldn't do. And that's what I do. That's what I do. It's like, I used to tell my kids that, like, you are putting yourself, but what my kids would do is like the person would do something and then they would then therefore do it too. But then if the person did what they did, they would actually point out the exact trait that the person was doing. And you'd be like, wait a minute, that's the same thing you do. You know, it'd be like, well, he stole, and I know how he stole it too. They'll tell the whole story. You be like, what? And that's when I could say, well, you know what? That's you. You put yourself, you do the same thing. But in this situation, the person was explaining that when you see somebody as a reflection of yourself, you like, I just wouldn't do it that way. And it's true, because you notice the fakeness and the carrying on and all that different stuff. So yeah, they all thought that was like I guess they read it somewhere, and then they thought that was me. Like, what they were doing was a characterization of me, and that wasn't I was saying at all. It's just, when you start the school year, your story's gonna have like a different type of vocabulary, and then when you end the school year, the kids end up having a better evolved vocabulary. So at first you start this word with line, and then you'll start the word with parade, and then you'll end the school year with procession. All of them mean the same thing. It's just that now you move the kids into saying different words, or using those words in their vocabulary. So then the kid could say, yeah, Miss Shula, we saw this great procession, or they could still use the word parade. Or if they want to, they could just still use the word line. But if the kid that said procession said it, they would actually already know what it meant. You see what I'm saying? So the kid could actually remain themselves, remain at whatever level they want to be, and still use flavorful vocabulary when they wanted to. They can use it in speech, they can use it in their writing, they can use it to have a conversation, they can use it however they wanted to. But they had it in their back pocket, they had it in their little box, so that now they know exactly what it means. So when she would come in, I'm just like, I didn't know at the time that that's what they was trying to do. I had no clue until I was like talking to the principal after coming from losing a baby, having a surgery. You see what I'm saying? Right, you see? So, all this different stuff, and they still trying to play games. So it was just like, wait a minute, like, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm trying to do. That wasn't what I was trying to do at all. And so it's like, yeah, but this is my understanding of it. No, but your understanding is wrong. Yeah, that was like the worst year. They kept changing the classes around and all this different stuff. And I'm going to stop talking about it too, but Throwback Thursday for me, that's what it is. Pain. All Throwback Thursday is pain. But yeah, it was such I'm saying, for real, use it. What you know, use what you know. Use what you know. Use what you know. Just to get your story out. And with my story, I'm not starting off with like all that. I'm doing the same thing. I'm bringing it up a hill. I'm pulling you up the hill to get you to know where I'm at. And I like it. I like it so far. I do. Anyway, please have a great day. This is Shantae with Brown Sugar Talk, telling you it is wonderful that you are you. I'm telling you, it is so good. It's so good that you are you. Oh my God. It is so nice to meet a person that is actually themselves. That's the best part of life. Anyway, have a good day.